Hey there! Do you feel like you could diagnose a base better? Maybe you'd like to know more about the Quadlaloon attack. Well, Marijuana Jesus here today, and we are going to discuss both. Let's get started with a little diagnosing, and particularly my CWL attack from the last war. It was a Town Hall 11-ish. It was like a fresh Town Hall 11. It didn't quite have an eagle yet or anything like that, but it wasn't my mirror. We decided to switch with me and Seven here due to my success in previous attacks in this clan war league. And we're going to view those in other videos later on, so keep an eye out for links in the description. So let's get to scouting this guy. Obviously, you've seen from a few attacks we were doing pretty well. We've been kind of crushing it. Past two clan wars, I've only lost one war in the past two wars, so this next one's probably going to be a little tougher, but our clanmates are grinding well, upgrading fast, learning fast, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Hoping for the best. Alright, so when I look at this base, I think Taylor base-ish. You got the sections off on the corners. You got the square. It's just got a little bit more of a ringus style without really defenses in the middle, though, which is your typical ringus to make, troops go around the base and have defenses in here to take them out or whatever and not be able to get in there, which these bows are not really that far in. So Valks and bowlers and stuff like that would love that section. But when I think Taylor base, I think Goho. And when I think Goho, I think Laloon or Go Laloon. Basically, I think defense targeter and start analyzing the base for paths and bombs. So before we get too far, since those attacks can easily end in 1 star, I was also thinking a Go Valk variant attack. Or more likely an interesting attack my clanmates like to use, which is a healer, giant, bowler, witch attack. If you want to know more, there's a link in the description to that attack. Actually, they did that in this war. This war too during the week. It was pretty cool to see somebody who's never even used it just go and try it and nail it. So I'll have to do a video of that next. And that would guarantee a 2-star, definitely. I wasn't sure about how it would do with the 3-star with the way the Taylor, with the outside setup and segments and whatnot. I think I would have been alright just because they have lower heroes. And I got pretty high heroes, which you should max your heroes. Max your base. And I've never used this attack, even in multiplayer or at all. I've only seen it. And luckily, by the time I was able to attack, we had the win locked in. So I decided to go for the 3-star. So looking over the base, I just wasn't feeling the Goho. I mean, no possible double big bombs in a base is brilliant. But single and target Inferno near the Queen with the CC on the opposite side of them, and the multi-Inferno over on that side, which is where you'd probably run your hogs, since usually with the Goho, you're running your Golem and your Kill Squad in to take out the Queen. And in Town Hall case, maybe some Expos, maybe some Infernos, and usually the Queen and the CC. CC is your most important thing. Queen can kind of live sometimes, but I recommend taking her out. So I wasn't really feeling the Goho on this one. With almost all bows set to ground and AD's very low level, it got me leaning towards Laloon. So first we analyzed the base for Laloon weaknesses. An example, the Queen, ADs, CC, Wiz Towers, in which they have all 5 for an 11. Infernos and what type they are, and bows, and of course what type those are. And we only have one bow that's even air. A direct shot is really usually not a problem, except for it is near a Queen. And you got all these archer towers and this expo and cannons and wizard tower, and normally it'd be a great defense if we were going to fly. but we're not. Because with a Quadlaloon, which is my preferred Laloon, you enter with your heroes and a few troops to help funnel. Now, if you have to substitute a hound or two for a golem or two, you can. Just remember, it has requirements to withhold. And what do I mean by this? The 4 hounds have a job, and that's 2 hounds for the first air defense and 1 for the rest. There are times where you can get enough with heroes and do a 1 hound to 1 AD, but not often. So if you use 1 golem, you better get an air defense and a few defenses, including the CC and or queen, most likely. If 2 golems are used, similar to 1, but with 2 air defenses and more defenses, all still using only heroes and 10 to 25 space of troops for funnel, help, and backup. So this is why, especially if you're new to the strat or a lower hero level, to look for a base you can do with heroes or 1 golem. These requirements I've mentioned are applicable to your heroes and your hero levels. So I really suggest 10 to 15 usually, and that's even really low. You can get away with some base designs, some poor designs, or some just really off designs and stuff, or being really creative, or having a really good, push or kill squad, or substituting and balancing it right. But it really helps to get them up to like that 15-20 area before you really start doing this type of attack. And remember, it's always dependent on attacker. It's always dependent on base design. And war allows us to tweak for base, which helps, because in multi-practice and challenges, we get what we get, and we just have what we have. So for war, you get to think about it a little bit more and tweak, which is awesome, which is why I love war, and I always have. So keep in mind, I'm mainly speaking generally and giving hints and tips on when and how to tweak your attacks. So the requirements of heroes, you want to get 1 or 2 of the defenses, if not all, listed from most important to least. Air defense, queen, CC, and the funnel for the loons by making a pathing into a capital L shape. So basically, an L shape, so take out all this, or an L shape, and take out some stuff over here. Basically kind of like miners too, which I'll do a video on later as well, and probably link it in the description. And also Town Hall 10s and above, you have to think Infernos and bows as well, which those are going to be your least concern. Even if it's single target or multi-target, you usually can deal with both, just got to be a little creative sometimes. Or you just need a different attack, But in my opinion, the air defense, the L shape, and queen should be your focus for your entrance, for your heroes. Now, queen, not always, as we can take her out with a rage and skelly spell. However, this would mean being able to path your loons across the queen and wanting to put a rage there. Because with this attack, you only bring 1 rage, 1 cure, and usually 4 to 5 haste, and usually a poison or 2, or a poison and a freeze. So if you're Town Hall 9 or below, you're going to probably want 2 poisons. And get the highest level poison you can. Highest level. And we're going to show you why actually in this attack later. So that's pretty cool. So basically you have to pass the loons over the queen, you drop a rage, drop the skellies, and the skellies on rage tear her apart. But you also have to be careful of mortars, cannons, expo set to ground, stuff that are going to tear apart those skellies before they can even do anything, which can cause a really big problem. Now let's see what I think I could take out with my heroes. So this is my target, if I haven't, said that yet. And we can take a little look at it here, kind of diagnose some stuff. Like I said, I was thinking kind of Goho too, but CC's kind of far with the target, which wouldn't be as much of a problem if this wasn't a single target. And usually with Goho, golems, heroes, stuff that's just going to get fried by that Inferno, since that's not going to be worth it. But besides that, if that wasn't the case, I'm thinking Goho from over like that would have been good. Just sadly with the CC over there and that multi on that side and the queen, it's just not worth it. I mean, you could probably do a Suicide King on the queen and do a Goho, where you drop in the king from like right over here and then use his ability and just kill the queen and then pull your CC, since that would be a decently easy pull. I mean, that could have been an option too for you Gohoers out there, but I'm more comfortable with the Th11 and flying. And so when I seen this base, I thought, okay, queen, obviously, and an AD. And what do you know? We got the queen. Got the queen. An AD. And what do you know? We got an Inferno. The only upward air expo, an archer, wizard, another archer. And unfortunately, that is a single target Inferno, so it's going to fry up your heroes, so I'm not expecting to get that out. But if we could get out all of this, including that expo, with just heroes and your little bit of funnel kill squad, that would be super helpful and productive. But you're thinking, wait, Marijuana Jesus, that won't pull the CC, and you're doing a Th11, right? You're right, I am. And unfortunately, since I'm going to do this, I thought maybe about trying to bring in the loons from this way, kind of, because loons against obviously a single target Inferno is pretty strong. But then you gotta deal with the queen. I don't want to rage that early and stuff like that. So I ultimately thought, what about bringing in the loons from over this way, starting over here? Of course, the CC is not going to get pulled from my heroes, because this single target Inferno is going to stop that. However, the hounds will pull it right here on there, and you can drop a double poison. If you have a level like 3 and level 5 poison, you'll pretty much kill just about anything in the CC. It'll have very minuscule health left, and your pups will finish it off, usually. Just depends on what's around it, going to be able to target those pups and all that good stuff, but usually it'll take it out. Now, if you have like level 4 and level 5 or 2 level 5s, you're usually pretty good. As long as they stay in that poison the whole entire time, you'll be alright. So, I was thinking bring in the loons from over there on that right side. So, if I could get with my kill squad and whatnot, I could get all of this taken out with my heroes. You think that would be a pretty good entry, right? That's a pretty substantial amount of stuff taken out just for my heroes. I mean, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 defenses taken out, including an air defense, an air targeting expo, and 2 archer towers and a whiz tower. So now that we have that taken out, how are we going to bring in our hound and our loons? We got a Quadlaloon, so that means we got 4 hounds. So I'm gonna bring in drop in my first one right here. And right afterwards, we're going to drop in probably 2 or 3 loons here, 3 loons here. And then after that, we're going to drop in a hound from over here. Well, actually, scratch that. My bad. I am so sorry, guys. After this hound, we are going to drop in 2 or 3 loons. 2 or 3 loons. Well, actually, 3 loons right there. And then we are actually going to drop the double poison right here because the CC is going to have pulled. The hound's going to be right there on top of it. And then we are going to drop our second hound to that first AD, like I talked about before, from over here, with 3 loons right behind it. And then we are going to haste right here. And let's see, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, haste right here. Because the loons in here will have already reached up and had plenty of tanking from the 2 hounds that have came in. Because that one, the first one will have died due to the CC maybe hitting it. With 2 poisons, they barely move and barely attack. It's hilarious. But anyways, he'll be dead, and that second one will have came in, and you have the pups and whatnot distracting, so you should be alright. And we're going to haste those ones on the right to catch up to these ones on the left. And then we are going to drop in a hound from up top, 12 o'clock, down to this AD. That way, that wizard tower catches that hound on the way in. So with that hound on the way in, you want to drop 3 loons really fast, like right behind it, to grab that wizard tower, since that air defense is outside of the range of the wizard tower. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be a big deal, but since the wizard tower is one of Balloon's weaknesses, actually one of the worst weaknesses, is that splash damage. You want to drop in the loons right afterwards. So we're going to drop in 3 there, and then probably 2 there, and then we're going to drop in choose blue. I'm going to drop in the Stone Slammer from over here. With I have CC loons in there, so the level 8 loons. I always opt for the loons over the hound. Those level 8s are goons. They are too overpowerful in these lower town halls. It's ridiculous. So, dropping the Stone Slammer from over there. And since we figured out in one of my other videos that haste does not affect the Stone Slammer, I decided to use the rage. Decided we were going to use the rage right here. So that's going to take these loons and speed them up as well, speed up the Stone Slammer, so they can all match in with the loons over here. So yes, rage right there. So then we'll have the attack working towards this north part and starting to come down towards the west. As that's starting to happen, we're going to drop in our last hound. And again, this wizard tower over here on the left is outside the range of the AD, so that means that the hound will not hold the wizard tower once it gets to the air defense. It'll only hold it for a brief time. So, and there's a blower right here as well. So we're going to go over here above the builder hut just a little bit and bring it in right there. And then a little trick, we're going to drop in 3 loons from over there. That way the blower will not affect them. It won't be in targets. We'll drop 3 there, and then we'll drop like 2 there. And then we will drop a haste right there to get those loons running in and destroy that wizard tower and that archer tower. And then we'll drop in probably a haste over in this area to help all those loons that have been coming from over here, and all that will help speed them up into this area. And then, which I doubt I'll even need it, so I'll actually have to watch, which be careful with your hound on this one. Sometimes you don't even need the heal, sometimes you do. But the whole idea is to get your hounds to pop. Remember, your hounds need to pop, all of them. But you want them to pop at the right parts. That's the whole idea from this way of adding in the loons. This surgical style is to get stuff to, basically the loons to be on top of the air defenses right when the hounds pop. So the air defenses die pretty much right as they pop, and then your pups stay alive behind to clean up. Because what kills these attacks is time and cleanup. Because the loons group together and they're slow. If you can, when you're fighting bases that you're overpowering with your hounds and overpowering with your loons and stuff, save your haste. Save them for cleanup. I've done this before. I've had like 2 or 3 hastes and then I used them to speed my loons around the base to clean it up and get the 3-star. But anyway, so we have a cure left, right? So if we need that, we can get everything popped, get all the hounds popped, we'll use a cure over in this area just to heal up all the rest of the loons and make sure everything stays alive. So that's my thinking behind it and what I want to happen. So now I guess it's time to take a look and see how it goes down. See if my plan works. See if, obviously it says a 3-star over there, so it's kind of a giveaway, but we're going to see it in action, alright? Oh, actually, hold on 1 second. I forgot a key part, which is probably one of the most difficult parts for most people, and that is the entrance. How do we do all of this? And that's what a lot of people suffer with, and that's where the queen walk, where people suffer with the queen walk, is the pathing, is the funneling. It's why people use like Go Wipe and other kind of easier attacks. It's where you just throw everything in at once. But I'm not about that. So, how do we take this out? So basically, what I was thinking, we have this Expo here, which is going to fry up a wall breaker or two, and you have very, very limited space with these attacks. So every single troop space counts. So you got to think of everything. So I don't want to waste a wall breaker because of that Expo. I don't want to fuck up, or I don't want to mess up and have this wizard tower fry my wall breakers. I don't want this archer tower to fry my wall breakers. I don't want this cannon to fry my wall breakers. Alright, so what do? I drop in a hound. Or a hound. Wow. No. I drop in a giant from right here. Or up here, whatever. You know. And that giant's going to attract the wizard tower, the cannon, and then once it gets over here, it'll attract the Expo's fire. Now what it won't attract is this archer's fire. So right after, once the king gets these 3 guys targeted, or once the giant gets those 3 targeted, I will drop in my king right behind him. And I'll actually drop him over here-ish, or here-ish. So he goes here, and then he goes here, and then he'll go there. Because right after I drop the king and this archer tower targets him, which is basically right away, so you can pretty much go king, switch your wall breakers, and wall breakers. And I only needed like 2, so that's all I brought. And if you get the king close, he'll like snare up any traps or anything like that, so you're good to go. And then I dropped a baby drag from over here on the right to go after that archer tower and take it out really fast, so less damage against my king, my tank. And then we dropped the queen from back here and a wizard tower with her just to help and drop him up on the left, so he'll eventually veer off and start taking out stuff over here. and help the queen funnel into the inside more. And the baby dragon over here will take out this stuff, at least, which will keep the king and the queen going this way. And then also the queen, once you get into her radius, once she sees you, she will pull the king in and might pull the queen in as well. And with the queens, with your queens, with my queen's radius, I'll be able to hit the air defenses and that without that being able to touch me. Without even probably that being able to touch me. And the archer tower might be able to take that out too. We'll see how that goes. And baby dragon might be able to take out that, but I doubt it because of that air defense. So I kind of discussed how to enter on that. I didn't say a lot of troops, did I? I used a wizard, 2 wall breakers, a giant, and a baby drag. And I have an extra wizard and maybe a minion or 2 or an archer or 2 for cleanup. So that's another thing, is make sure you bring some minions or an archer just for cleanup, just in case, because those pups don't always live. Your plan doesn't always go right, especially when you're hitting in Clan War League, because you don't have any replays. You don't know where the Teslas are. You don't know what's going to mess up your pathing. You don't know where bombs are. You don't know what's in the CC. None of that. So, prepare for it all. Think about it all. What if it all? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? What if that happens? What's the radius on this? When is this going to pull? Think about everything. All right, let's go into this attack. So like I said, we're going to start from the bottom. As you can see, I brought 2 goblins since there's a lot of stuff on the outside. A lot of collectors and stuff like that. Fast cleanup. Like I said, time is your enemy with these attacks. It's unfortunate, but it's the way it goes. And like I said, you usually have anywhere from 17. 17 is low. 18 is pretty low too, but actually I have 7 loons in the CC. But usually you have around 20 or more loons. I'm Town Hall 10 as well, so that helps. But Town Hall 9 is usually about 20 loons. And sometimes you have bigger kill squad, sometimes smaller kill squad. But as you can see, all the troops I said I have 4 haste. I did bring a bat spell for cleanup because I didn't feel I was going to need 5 haste, as I showed you on the map. When I broke it down, I didn't really need a 5th haste, so I brought a bat spell to help with cleanup. And as you can see, I have the dual poisons. I have a freeze, which I didn't even discuss where I was going to use the freeze at. And truthfully, it was kind of just one of those bring it and use it when you feel you need to use it. And there's a lot of those too in certain attacks, just in cases. I have those a lot, and usually if I don't use them at the end, I'll plop them down in the middle. It was a buddy of mine in my old clans trademark back in the day. He used to do hog attacks, and he was a monster. Fuck, just a goon at hog attacks. Like Matt's hog attacks, it was crazy. And so many times he'd have like heals left over, and he'd just plop them down in the middle after the attack was over, after all defenses were done, just to like shove it in their face. Anyways, let's get back to my attack, back to the Quadlaloon, stop reminiscing. Alright, so we're going to start off from the south here, from the bottom, that 6 o'clock position. We're going to drop in that giant to distract those cannons, whiz, and expos. Followed, of course, by that king on the elixir pump, followed by the 2 wall breakers. And boom, boom, boom. There they go. Open. Pump not even broken down yet. Baby dragon out, archer tower down, queen out. Oh, down another cannon. Wizard tower down. Queen down. Just tearing them apart. Just no F's given at all. And unfortunately, that single target got me, and the king did such a good job that the queen did not target in the inside very well. She did not path in there. But because there was an army camp over here on the left, in that archer tower, the army camp let her be able to come into the right, repath to the right instead of going over here to the left to the cannon and everything like that. So think about that too. Those army camps are huge, and they're good at redirecting your troops and stuff. But she did get in. She got rid of that expo, got rid of that air defense, and didn't get the Inferno. As I suspected, she went in and she got fried by the Inferno. And that sadly, that Archer Tower is still alive too. So, as you can see, here comes the Hound, followed by 3 loons. Since that Archer Tower was still here, I dropped 3. If the Archer Tower wasn't there, I was only going to drop 2. And out comes the CC, which is just a dragon. All good. So it drops both the poisons. And as you can see, like, there he goes. Hits once. Takes forever. Dropping that other Hound from the right, which has, see, these wizard towers are distracted. Dropping that haste. By the time he turns around, he gets 1 hit on my balloons, and it's dead. And that dragon's still kind of trying to do something, but he's getting messed up. And then I brought in that Hound from the top with those loons behind. Loon to the cannon. In comes the Stone Slammer. Rage, since that Multi-Inferno is starting to grab those loons, try to keep them alive. Decide to freeze just to save as many loons as I can from that multi. As you know, multis are tear up those loons. So Stone Slammer just comes in, just annihilates. A little late on that haste up top, but that Wizard Tower looks like it was distracted for long enough, so really didn't matter, which is good. The later you can put it, the better, obviously. Get it sped up through inside of the base where everything is at. So boom, Pup finishes off that dragon. As I said, the double poisons got it down. Very minuscule. Got the other Hound coming in from the west. Those 3 loons with the haste, down. Did accidentally or unfortunately pull a bomb, but it doesn't matter. It's nothing down here to target it. Had some loons come in across the base, across the town hall to help out. And then I'm watching my Hound, and my Hound is dead, or is not dead, but I dropped the heal anyways because, well, I had the bats, I had plenty of pups. Had my Wizard, which I dropped north here to grab that Builder Hall. Grab your corners. Always remember your corners. Always remember to look at your corners when you're scouting a base. Does this base have Builder Halls in the corners? Is there buildings in the corners? Try to sacrifice some troops if you can, like an archer or whatever, just to put. Make sure whatever side you come in from, you always get the corners. Do not leave the corners. Put a Wizard out there. Have them be your side funnels. Just grab them. The more backtracking you have to do, the more likely you will fail. And as you've seen, with these attacks, what you basically want to do is you want to go into a clockwise or counterclockwise attack. As you've seen with this, how we started from the right, went over the top to the left. Or we could have went from the left to the top to the right. But for this base, it was the other way. Basically, and then you're doing that surgical style, usually, of entry. Which, depending on the base, sometimes you can do a little bit of a flood, but most of the time you want to do surgical with this attack. And basically the balloons group together slowly and then pick up momentum like halfway through the attack through the base. As you've seen when we were more up top here, all the balloons started grouped together and they started just becoming super destructive. And that's basically what you're trying to do. You want stuff to go in that way instead of your normal. You see a lot of people do attacks where you have it just bringing some Hounds like that and then flood of loons down here, whatever, and try to match them. And I mean that can work for some bases and stuff like that. I mean obviously it's gonna be base dependent. It just can be really iffy. But I mean they do have clone now, and clones really do help with that style, because usually what happens with those types of attacks is one side either gets more or less loons, or one side just dies out or can't handle it or gets shredded a little bit more and dies out. But with clones you can, whatever side's starting to die out, you can pop a clone on, or you can let that die out and pop a clone later on that other side when it loops back around. But basically a lot of times, and I mean, if you ever done a Mass Dragon or, countless other things, your troops, you want to go around the base. So, work with that aroundness. Work with it wanting to go in a circle instead of fighting it. And that's what basically is good about this attack. The only really downfall, in my opinion, and a lot of opinions, is that time. And that's with a lot of these defense targeted attacks. Go-Hos are kind of the same way. So I hope you like that. I hope you learned something. I hope it was pretty educational and you can apply this in future use, and hope it brings you some success and gains in your future. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Also subscribe. I'll be having more videos in the future. I'll be doing a lot of different types of attacks. I'll be doing a lot of your standard breakdowns, but also I'll start, after I get through a lot of standard attacks, I'm going to go into a lot of my unique attacks. I do a lot of variations of standard attacks like go-hos and go wee wees and stuff like that, and show you kind of how to tweak attacks for certain base styles to better suit them for war. Because that's obviously the best benefit of wars. Yes, you can customize your base crazily, but you can also customize your attack crazily. You can take out a section with this type of troops and, go at the rest of the base with a different section of troops, and just depends on how the base is built, your imagination, your thought process, and your knowledge of your troops. And that's why I'm a big believer in knowing how to use all your troops too, because one attack strategy isn't going to 3-star everything, and if you don't 3-star it, then what are you doing? Alright, have a good one, y'all. Take it easy. Until next time.